Now I'm happy to welcome back a fantastic handicapper and longtime friend of the show who works on both sides of the window. You know him from his work at mybookie.com and his great plays and insights at docsports.com. I'm very happy to bring back Mr. Raphael Esparza to the Odds Breakers. You can follow him on Twitter at VSI Doc Sports. And this segment is being brought to you by mybookie.com. For a 50% sign up bonus, please visit mybookie and use the promo code the Odds Breakers. Terms, conditions, and location apply. Raf, I can see that football's kind of coming at us in a distance. I see a cloud of smoke out there. You know, it's charging, and it might be a fullback. I might have to get out of the way here, but I'm happy about it. How's your summer treating you?
Do people still play the position of fullback? I mean, it's one of the long lost positions, I think, in the NFL. But
Derek Watt, baby, Derek Watt, come on.
Yeah, I agree, but summer's been up and down. We were talking up on the air. Baseball season always has good months, bad months. I'm a Cubs fan, so my summer's been not that good. Cried a little yesterday when Wilson Contreras was probably going to beat his last home game at Wrigley. So, but
Wilson and Hap.
Well, and Hap, but the Contreras, I'm more saddened. But Hap has had up and down seasons. He's finally had a great season this year because he learned how to take pictures and go for walks instead of swinging at everything. But more saddened about Wilson Contreras. I just do not want him to go to like the Dodgers or Yankees or Red Sox. I'm hearing mostly Phillies, stuff like that. But well,
he's got a lot of good years left, and I understand Hap. It's almost like, can't you hold on to one guy, is what you think a little bit. I do like some of the other guys like Keegan Thompson. I think there's some potential there. Horner.
I that's who they're going to hold on to. They're going to hold on to Nico Horner. I think that's who they're going to probably build around.
Yeah, I think so too. There's another guy, I think, and his name is kind of going away from me. It is Morel. They might hold on to Morel too. So I mean, it's all about money, and Wilson's going to be expensive. He's probably the best catcher in baseball, in my opinion. So we'll see where he goes. And yeah, please not the Yankees or the or the Mets or the Dodgers. I would like to see him go to a team, that is kind of there, that needs a little help. Maybe Seattle. Seattle can make the playoffs.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland's actually pretty hot right now. Please no White Sox. But we'll see. Obviously, maybe in a Cubs fan, it's been tough. But at the same time, I don't watch them a ton when they're losing. I don't like that true fandom. You watch them, and you're wasting your time. Go sports bet or something. Jesus Christ, don't watch your team lose.
I watch them when they lose. I used to watch them when I was a kid at WGN, losing all the time. So it brings me joy to watch them win or lose.
All right, well, I'll tell you what I do. I'll have them on in the background to go about my day.
Okay, I'm not paying attention. I just said I had it on.
Right, man. Well, let's get into it then. As a handicapper at my bookie, when do the most season win totals and future bets come in on the NFL? I've kind of always wondered that. Is it kind of right after the draft, everyone's excited? Or is it maybe midsummer when people are kind of getting their power ratings and their thoughts into place? Or is it right before the season, the month of August, where these future bets and season win totals are coming in?
The Joe Betters, which you know who the Joe Betters are, they'll bet during the Hall of Fame game. They're probably looking at total season wins because the Hall of Fame game's on TV, and they forgot that preseason football or even camps have started. So they'll put on that one. Usually throughout the whole summer, it's mostly just wise guy action, or if someone sees a rumor, Jimmy G's gonna go here, then they'll pound to Houston. Or Seattle, stuff like that. But I would say the majority of the bets, not dollar amount, just tickets written, probably has to be right when the first preseason, the Hall of Fame game, then everyone starts jonesing for anything and everything when it comes to NFL and college football futures, not just the NFL. I just think football in whole comes in right when that Hall of Fame. But like I said, that's probably the bulk of it. Wise guy actions all summer long.
All summer long, baby, right from the draft on. Yeah, I agree. And I think there are some people that even hit some stuff before the NFL draft. I'm a right after the draft guy, and then do my research and kind of. I'm pretty hard in July. June. I suppose I did a lot of end of June. I had my previews written before that. I did a lot of end of June, a little bit here in July, and now when more lines come out, like some of these exotic futures that we're going to talk about, that's when I obviously hit those. It's funny about Jimmy G. It's a little late for him to kind of learn a system right now. It's like his values trade values kind of going down, in my opinion. It's like, yeah, he's better than freaking over half the quarterbacks out there, and it's probably stupid for San Fran to do this, but I just wonder where he can help and make an immediate impact without learning all the plays. The Texans, or I don't know, at Seattle, they won't want to keep it.
It's got to be those two. It has to, unless for some reason a freak injury in New England or somewhere else. They're now that the camps are open up, but it's got to be either Houston or Seattle.
Where they deal with Seattle in their division like that, that's just another thing, that's a tough one. You don't want to give them up to your own division. You have to get a premium for something like that. But they're in a rock and a hard place now because
Starbucks gift card. That's what Seattle will give them, a Starbucks gift card.
Yeah, exactly, a Starbucks. Seattle's gonna, say, hey, you guys screwed him over, and you're playing with a guy that's unproven, and you made your bed and now sleep in it, is what they're saying. Probably, I would be pretty stiff myself if I was a GM negotiating this deal, but at the same time, Seattle's expectations isn't going to win. It's not to win it this year, and hopefully the fan knows it. I would rather personally go 6-11 rather than 8-8 or 8-9. And get a better draft choice, in my opinion. I think there's absolutely no way that I look at it like that. Well, let's get into some of your thoughts on the rule change for the playoffs. I haven't got to talk much about this, Raph, and I thought this would be a good question for us. It's interesting how that Buffalo game, it was so freaking predictable. I'm sitting here with my over ticket. It's 2 minutes left. Just ready to rip it up. Just feel like, are you kidding me? Buffalo can't hit the over here. And then in 2 minutes, like 1 billion points were scored, like over half the points.
That's 2 minutes of football I've seen.
It was the best, and also the most, probably the worst too, because it was kind of pathetic.
Yeah,
how easily that happened. But from an excitement standpoint, being at the end of the game, yeah, it was the best exciting 2 minutes that we've ever seen. But now, obviously, they're like, well, guess what? Buffalo, they gave up that field goal and didn't get the ball, and Pat Mahomes was Pat Mahomes. Pretty much won the game. It's like, this was a stupid rule in the first place, and now they're kind of fixing it. But it's weird that they're fixing it just for the playoffs. I find that funny. What are your thoughts on this? Should this be like a season rule, or should they just change the whole dang thing completely?
I think it should be a season rule, because everyone who makes fun of one of my favorite sports, soccer, when there's a draw, when it's 0-0, and now you don't see anything that happens if the NFL does it. They'll talk about it for maybe the first couple of hours on Monday morning and stuff like that, but it dies off. But everyone wants to complain when a World Cup soccer game ends in a 0-0 draw or something like that. The world is going to end, but we don't complain about NFL ties. I think just put it all through the whole season. Why just only the playoffs? Because I think we can finally put totals when the game goes into overtime. We could just put up either 3.5 or 6.5 or something like that. Put some totals on overtime games. So I would like to see it all the way, and I think it will see it all the way. And if I haven't, I think I read the XFL rules. I think they're going to have it all the way. There's not going to be no ties in the XFL rules. I may be wrong on that one. I think they're going to do it all season long.
XFL rules, interesting. Yeah, so I think I think it should be consistent from the season to the playoffs. I guess they're still in experimental mode, but honestly, there's way more that needs to be fixed. The replay is just absolutely atrocious. It should be done in 30 seconds in the upstairs. Like, we're all seeing the TV and we're like, we can make a judgment on something obvious. Now, sure, there's going to be 50-50 calls, but you should see a 50-50 call and in 30 seconds be like, there's nothing here. See ya. Pass it on, keep the momentum of the game going. I think that's way more important. That for some reason, Roger Goodell doesn't have the sense to address. And I also have to blame the owners of the teams. It's just like you're just letting some of these officials grade their own homework. And we saw how bad that was. They would literally just go with what they said, even when they saw it on camera wrong. So that's my biggest problem with the NFL, Ref.
Well, yeah, there's other rules to be changed. Not you hit that dead on. There should be other rules than the overtime rules. Dude, let's put college rules in there, like the old college rules. I want to see Kansas City put up 80 points in overtime, like we did in college football. So go back to the college rules.
Yeah, keep that live betting going, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go back. Well, I'll tell you this: the college rule doesn't make sense, but I don't see how you can make a ton of sense in football. Anyways, it's the XFL. I think is going to be the first to come up with something that makes more sense, in my opinion, or one of those other leagues.
And who's going to tell the Rock? Who's going to tell the Rock he's wrong?
If you smell what he's cooking, there you go. All right, we won't get into Vince McMahon here. I know you love to do it. We were not going to get into that. It's not that kind of show. Anyways, I'm sure let's get into some futures here. And first of all, I want to know if you have any win totals that you played already, and you can shame us for getting us a better line or whatever if you want, or any future bets that you might have played, like in general. Like when I say, I mean divisional future bets, because we'll get into the more exotics afterwards.
Total season wins. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know Big Ben's not there, but his arm wasn't there for the last couple of years. So it's not like he got injured in his prime and he's no longer there. I think it's probably an upgrade for one of the quarterbacks who's going to win it out there. And I just think they're going to win games on defense. You're trying to tell me 7.5? Every time I blink my eye, every year Pittsburgh had 9-10 with double-digit wins. So I give time. Now you're telling me either Mason Rudolph or the old Bears quarterback or Pickett, who's just gets to play in his backyard pretty much. They can't muster up 7.5 or 8 wins with that defense that they have. I like Pittsburgh. I thought it was a very, very low total because I'm actually taking a step backwards on the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they can take a small step backwards. So if they're going to take a small step backwards and figures Cleveland, we have no idea what's going to happen to Cleveland with their quarterback issues. I can see Pittsburgh splitting maybe their division games. So now you should tell me to just win a couple more. 7.5 seems like a very, very low total. So I like that. And only minus 105.
You know, it says 7 minus 125 too, if you're worried about pushing at some of these books. So
yeah,
I'm going to be honest with you. And I said this in June, I wanted to wait on this because I wanted the Mitch Trubisky hate to come in full force from the public. Yeah. And I would like to see this line go down and down. And I think that this one might be a play for me in the future. So I'm still holding tight here. Maybe I'm greedy, but it's not like I care that much because I have plenty of action anyway. And my number isn't exactly that much higher than 7. So I'm going to wait on the Pittsburgh and kind of see where we come with. Any other plays that you made?
Tampa Bay under. I mean, no Gronk. Tom Brady has a mega contract on TV already waiting for him. I mean, Leonard Ford, I think he weighs like William Perry weight right now coming into camp. I just don't see the moment. And it would not shock me if they don't even win a division. Would not shock me if it's if the Saints or even Carolina, that I think it could be a much better team this year, wins that division. I'm not sold on Tampa Bay. So I thought 11.5. Wow. I mean, that's a big number. I don't trust Tampa Tom this year like I had in recent past. And you have a whole new coaching. Yeah, new head coach there as well. So not sold on Tampa Tom. I like the under at 11.5.
Yeah, Tampa Tom. That team's a lot thinner now. They did get Hakeem Hicks and they just got Julio Jones, but they still lost a ton. And we have to remember that Bruce Arians is not Todd Bowles. These are different guys running the team. I mean, Tom getting old, man. And I almost feel like you might see one of those Patriots teams like right before Tom left where he limped into the playoffs. I think it was like the Jets or the Dolphins or somebody that was bad that year, beat them before their playoff game, and then the Titans destroyed them, I think. That's what you could see with them. And that's why I'm kind of on the Saints on the over. And I discussed this in a previous podcast. But in my opinion, I think the Saints have a just as good of a chance as anybody to get that done. Any divisional futures that you have played or conference futures?
I do have the Saints ticket at plus 350. The only thing that scares me, we still have not figured out what's going to happen with Kamara. Hill has not been he actually practiced today is what I'm hearing, his new tight end position or whatever he's going to be. We still have a lot of question marks with Michael Thomas. We still have question marks on famous Jameis's knee. How healthy is he going to be? So that offense kind of scares me a little bit all season long. That's why I'm not really sold on total season wins on the Saints, because I think huge question mark like the Riddler and Batman on their offense. Defense, they're always going to be solid. You can always count on the Saints defense, and I think the Saints defense probably wins them a couple games throughout the whole season. But that offense, I'm still really, really scared. I 110% agree with you. If there's one person team that wins that division, it could be the Saints. And let's face it, the Saints have owned Tampa Tom since he's been in Tampa. So I got plus 350 a while back on that one. So I like that play as well.
I'm glad you gave it out because I got plus 400 on it. It was actually at plus 430 at my bookie a month ago, man. I think I took a little piece of that. I know you can't bet there, but hey, man, you can influence the line. And be like, hey, we're gonna lose money. No, I think it was a great value. I am concerned with Kamara. Has there been charges or anything with him?
No, I mean, I think everything's still in the process. But being in former Vegas casino employee and having a lot of people that work in surveillance, I have seen the footage. So he's gonna get some games. It's not like it's not like he was just standing there. He threw multiple punches, multiple kicks, right on day of it. So I would be shocked if it's probably going to be anywhere between 3 to 5 games. I'm thinking.
I'm going to go with the low end on 2. I don't think he's gotten in a ton of trouble. Now let's just see their first 2 games here. You're at Atlanta. That could be a win without him, but versus Tampa would be a little tricky. At Carolina, could be a win without him. I hate the fact that they're away, but the Saints have a pretty deep running back core. I think they're going to be okay. And Kamara is just such a big piece of that team. But Jameis is back, right? Jameis is back. Come on, Jameis is back. We're good.
Well, one thing about I think I'm going to break into one thing that you have to look out for, Kamara. I think the reason why they haven't said anything is I think the whole league is waiting to see what's going to happen to Watson. I think that's going to be if Watson gets a whole year, then I think everyone else probably gets a longer suspension would normally would give, just because, let's face it, it's the Watson era when it comes to suspensions. If you're in the NFL player, I wouldn't do anything wrong this year because, like I said, I think it's going to be the Watson era when it comes to suspension games.
Wow, I would hate to have to live up to that. I mean, Watson is just a complete different allegation.
I agree, but I just think that with so many arrests in the league and so many negativity when it comes to law enforcement of the league, I just think it's a bad era to get suspended when there's legal actions and cops involved with the big stipulation what's going to happen to Watson and all his 30 cases against him.
Right. Well, I agree. I do like Dennis Allen because he came from the team. There's consistency at offensive coordinator. So we do have that one going for us. Let's move on to – I'm going to give out one more. And I already gave this out. And it's an obvious one. It's kind of like a no-duh. I'm taking the Ravens to win the AFC North. And I got that plus 200. And I doubt you can find that number again. But, I mean, I almost think it should be almost minus. Here's the thing. This team was favored last year. They had the worst injury luck because of old John Harbaugh and has to win preseason games. And it even happened in practice, some of those ACL tears. And
all the running backs were just out.
Yeah, and now they come back in full health. Lamar's fully healthy. He's excited. And they have a 4th place schedule. They're the ones they're playing the Jacksonvilles, the teams like that, the Jets. Yeah, I think that's perfect for them. And it just almost makes too much sense. I'm a little worried that it makes too much sense, but maybe people are on the Bengals, but this is the Ravens all day, plus 200 for me. I even like them over their 9.5 season win total. My number's like in the 11s, for them. They're probably like one of my biggest projection is the Ravens here with a comeback season. So we'll see if that comes to fruition too, Raph.
One thing I want to get your opinion on is why is the Indianapolis Colts only like anywhere between minus 115, minus 120, minus 125 to win their division? I mean, I think it's an upgrade with Matty Ice up there. They have the offensive line, so he doesn't have to run around to save his life like he had to do in Atlanta for the past 3 to 4 years. He's got a great running back on there. I thought that should be at least right now, July 27th. I thought we'd be like minus 140, minus 150.
I agree with you. And the thing about the Colts is that their season win total is at 10.
Yes.
I took over, and I think I can buy back. And because the reason for that, and I'll just pull up your schedule. I'm gonna give you your schedule, and I'm just doing this from memory here. Schedule their first 8 or 9 games. We're at Houston, should be a win. At Jacksonville, hope that's a win for the Colts. Versus Kansas City at home, probably a loss, but they have a shot there. Versus Tennessee at home, they should win their division game at home. At Denver is a little tricky, but then you have Jacksonville, and then you're back at Tennessee, and then you have Washington. I think their first 8 games are a little bit easier, and if you can go like 6-2 there, you might be able to get a 12, and you'd be able to try to middle this. But the reason is because Tennessee won the whole AFC last year, and the public percentage or perception is probably Tennessee is still a really good team. Now, I do think that the coaching of Vrabel has been better, and I don't think I'm going to miss A.J. Brown as much as people think. I think that he was great, but I think any receiver on play action could pop wide open, if you know what I'm saying. So I agree the Colts should be around 150, 170, minus 170. That's not so bad. That's not bad value, in my opinion.
No.
They do have the second place schedule. They screwed themselves out of the playoffs. But I will tell you one thing about Houston. A lot of people say I'd like them under their 4.5 or 4 wins or whatever it is. Here's the scary part about that. You have the Colts that's favored to win the division, and we both agree that they're underpriced. Well, guess what? What if the Colts are at week 18? They're just like the Bengals were last year. They can't improve their playoff seed, but they already have the division in wraps. You know what they're going to do against the Houston Texans at home? They're going to freaking bench their players. And that's where the Texans might get that 5th win to bust your ticket. So I want to warn people about that. If you're thinking about going under with the Texans, that if the Colts are in place and they cannot play for the division, because maybe Kansas City's too good this year, maybe Buffalo's got home field wrapped up, which they're supposed to according to the odds. Well, you're in this situation just like the Bengals were last year against Cleveland. So there you go, Raph. Little future forecasting.
I'm going to write that down. That was a great insight.
Thank you. Anyways, let's move on then. Let's get into the exotic markets here. And I'm going to pull up good old mybookie.com. They're probably going to make me like re-log in or something fun. But we're going to start out with and you didn't play any conference championship odds, right? Like,
no, I don't play any conference championship.
I think if people remember our show from last year, we don't play that Super Bowl stuff unless we get something obviously stupid that's available to us. Moving into the first one, I'm going to go with to make the playoffs. I did bet a team to make the playoffs, and I bet the Minnesota Vikings at even money to make the playoffs. My reasoning is, well, they are in one of the easier divisions. I am not high on the Chicago Bears, unfortunately, this year as a Bears fan, right? Not high on them at all. I think the Lions make a step forward, but it's still Jared Goff. I think that's still going to be their crutch, and he's going to come in motivated. But he had a season last year to kind of try to prove the Rams wrong, and I did bet on him and covered against the Rams. But now it's the next season. It's time for him to fade back into Jared Goff type things. I think the Vikings vastly improved their defense. Vastly. I think they got a coach now that was under Matt LaFleur, and he was actually under Shanahan and LaFleur, I think, at one point. But for a while, Kevin O'Connell was a Washington offensive coordinator. He failed there. Then he went with the LaFleurs and did pretty well, I believe, and became the head coach now with Minnesota, if I remember this correctly. It's one of them. It's Shanahan or LaFleur, which is pretty much the same coaching tree anyway. So in my opinion, this team does enough to make the playoffs. It could be with 9 wins. It could be with 10 wins. Their season win total is 9 juice to the over. So maybe they push at 9 on that and still make the playoffs. That's one of mine. Any thoughts on that one?
I like that one. I'm not 100% sold on Green Bay, aka Nicolas Cage, as their quarterback. And you said in the Lions and the Bears are in that division, so it's going to be a battle of those two teams. And I agree. I think new coaching, and especially I think their offensive line is going to be much improved this year. I would not that would not shock me if the Vikings win that division and maybe the Packers get a wild card. So that's a good play. That's a great number you had. I actually played two, and they're not bad numbers. I just think the number's just way wrong. I mean, yeah, for instance, if you can get the Yankees at home minus $2 or less, you're going to look at them just the way they play at home and the way they hit home runs at home. Why are the Indianapolis Colts minus 165 to make the playoffs when we just discussed them just now? I thought they should have been misrun. That should have been minus $2 or something like that. And the same thing with the Chargers. I think they're going to win games on defense, not on Justin Hubert. That defense with Mac there now, I'm totally blown away. Where you can get them minus 155, minus 150, and minus 160. I checked three places, minus 150 at FanDuel. Just don't tell the bosses I said that right now. But I'm just totally blown away that, especially the Chargers. I played that one actually the other day when I was looking at some NFL stuff, and I'm like, why are the Chargers so low just to make the playoffs? I think they can actually almost win a division and maybe win that conference just because of their defense alone.
Right. I totally like it. I agree. I think the Colts and the Chargers are live here, and I think they should make the playoffs this year. It's funny you mentioned these two teams. These are the two teams that freaking choked last year in the stretch, man. I mean, all you had to do is beat the Raiders at home, and then you don't, and then you have Jacksonville at home, and you literally blow that one too, and allow the Steelers to sneak in like that. What the heck was that, man? I don't understand.
I think Mac's leadership in that locker room would not have that happen this year. No way.
No, definitely not. And they really improved their defense. Both the Vikings and they did. I wanted to correct. O'Connell was under McVay, which is still the same tree if you dig deep.
It's still the same tree.
Still the same tree. And so obviously win that Super Bowl. So what I want to get into now is the next question. And let me pull those up real quick. I have NFL MVP, and I thought I wasn't going to make a play, Ralph. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at my bookies and I'm like, ooh, that one's really sticking out, man. I'm going to let you try to guess that one and then see if you picked any yourself.
I'm trying to think of the names. Some of the teams you mentioned, I think, I'm going to say Kirk Cousins.
Oh, no, he chokes. They're going to win on defense because of getting like Hicks and Zadarius Smith. The Vikings really had a great draft.
Lamar Jackson at 20-1.
Yes. Second guess gets it. Lamar Jackson at 21. Like I said, cake schedule. You know, I mean, he could also be called a comeback player of the year, but I think he goes above that and becomes the regular season MVP just based upon that schedule and based upon the embarrassment that it kind of had last year. You know, Lamar, very hard to stop that guy. When he gets out in the pocket, he can do a lot. If he doesn't run, he can actually throw from out of the pocket pretty decently. I just hate him throwing to the sidelines when he's in the pocket. That's my problem with Lamar, but it's Harbaugh. He's a motivated coach. He's a great coach. He's proven it many, many times. 20-1 is a gift. I mean, they have guys like Matt Stafford ahead of them that's in his honeymoon year of being a quarterback. Hell, they win on defense anyway. You know, they got Dak Prescott in front of him, which Dak, under pressure, we still don't know what he is. Joe Burrow is way ahead of him. Aaron Rodgers to make 3 in a row. Are you kidding me? That's possible, but still. Yeah, Justin Herbert's ahead of him. Old Tom Brady's ahead of him. Josh Allen, of course. Patty Mahomes. I like the 20-1 here. I'm sticking with it. I think it's a good play. And did you say you made any or?
I made one, and it's because of like I said when I was doing some dissection. You trying to tell me I can get Matty Ice at 54-1? That's like I said. He's got a better offensive line. He's got a better running back. If they can win the division, make a long trip to the playoffs, just why not? That's why I tell people we mentioned the Saints. if the Saints make it to the playoffs deep in there, you can get famous Jameis at plus 7,000. I mean, and let's face it, that's a team that would probably win on defense most of their games. But I'm looking at some quarterbacks. I think they have some proven to be, and I think everyone's going to give to all the Buffalo Bills, Allen, Mahomes, Brady. You said it. There's no way Aaron Rodgers wins 3 in a row. I was looking for value. And like I said, I think Matt Ryan's looking for some redemption because they had to play in a horrible, horrible team in Atlanta. And again, I'll take famous Jameis at plus 7,000.
71 or famous Jameis. He better turn it around. But yeah, and yes, this team does win on defense, and now they have a defensive coach, but he still has to do something out there. He's just got to last throughout the year, get this team to the playoffs. I think you definitely got a good shot at that one. It's going to be, yes, we just got to convince the pundits that you don't always have to give it to the stars, man. Come on. Yeah, Lamar Jackson is a star, though, in my opinion, at 21 the star. So I'm going to stick with that one. How about best regular season record? Did you touch that one?
No, but I like the Chargers. If I had to touch it, they're my team. I think that's going to win it all this year. I think the trophy stays in SoCal. You figure college football stays in the SEC. Why doesn't the Super Bowl just stay in SoCal? So I like the Chargers.
Oh my God!
You like the analogy? That's how I pick my teams.
West Coast bias coming on here from Raph. I guess Vegas is a 5-hour drive?
Yeah,
no, it's 5.5.
Stop up at Barstow, get some Del Taco, or.
But you only take your private jet.
Yeah.
Much faster. So yeah, I can't. Third place schedule for the Chargers. I can't disagree with that. You gotta love that third place schedule. So very possible. I didn't touch this one, but I do like where your thoughts are on the Chargers. Best regular season. I like the Chargers, and obviously I still like the Ravens for this one. So I don't want to just go black the whole. Purple and black the whole line here of bets. So I might stay away from this one. But,
people who are watching this, the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers both don't make the playoffs because we've just been talking about those two teams the whole show so far.
Well, here's what's going to happen. Herbert's going to get MVP, and because I'm not betting the Ravens, they're going to let the Ravens get the best regular season record. So that's how we're going to get screwed.
Is that how it goes? Okay, I'll have to make sure I write that down too.
We got to take care of our threats. That makes sense. All right, well, let's move on here. I think I have the offensive rookie of the year. That's what I have next. Offensive rookie of the year. Now, there's some big favorites in this one. I'm going to mention them. You have Kenny Pickett, of course, because all the hate for Mitch and the fact they use the first quarterback drafted, plus 560, 5.6 to 1. Drake London plus 710. Oh, God, a receiver. Breece Hall plus 750 for the Jets. Treylon Burks plus 780. Okay. If he does for A.J. Brown what they want him to do. Christian Watson plus 850 to replace Devontae Adams. Chris Olave plus 900. I'm not even on these guys. I took a bigger one. I took Desmond Ridder. Ooh, it looks like this line moved a little bit in my direction. I took him at plus 1550, and it's at plus 1500 now. I don't see how Atlanta wins with who they have in Marcus right here. I think that Ridder comes in quickly, and I think he takes over the Atlanta Falcons. I think they have a really good tight end to throw to. If somehow they can kind of come up and shock some people, and he's the one that sustains, he's going to get the nod over all these receivers and running backs. I mean, I honestly think it's probably between Kenny Pickett and him, because who else has the better chance to start? I would have said Matt Corral maybe. But now they got Baker. They got Baker over at the Carolina now, and they're probably going to give him a long run. So, I mean, I'm liking Ridder. What are your thoughts?
Shop around because there is better numbers for Ridder. I actually, you look at it, it's on my sheet that was one of the ones that I actually do have money on there. But I'm going to go totally opposite. I'm going to take James Cook from Buffalo. I think the passing game for him. I think of the screen passes in the open middle of the field that he might have. I don't think his running would do it, but I think they're going to use him a lot for Buffalo. So I'm going to be a sneak. I mean, it's plus 1350. There's 15 to 1. and other shots. I wasn't going to take, Kenny Pickett, all these other ones that people are going to bet. I was kind of looking for a nice shot, and I think Buffalo's going to want to. I can't believe they're going to say this, rev up their offense even more this year than what we saw last year. So I took a shot. I think James Cook, I think he can have a nice receiving year for the Buffalo Bills.
Where fantasy running backs for the Bills go right into the tank. But guess what? I was buying your crap because I'm fourth pick in my dynasty league, and I picked him. So I had to pick him above some guys, right? I'm thinking maybe he does get some Josh Allen dump off passes here because
that's what I'm counting on, dump off passes, people, not through the ground game, dump off passes. And I heard they might use him for punting too.
Well, good. Zach Moss and Singletary was not any good last year, and yet let's hope that he becomes a big part for my fantasy value and for your bet, Ref. So let's see how far we can take Mr. Cook here, the brother of Delvin Cook.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So that's another reason why.
All right. Well, I hope his speed is cooking like his brother. Let's move on to defensive rookie of the year. And I have one that you can never guess. I'm going to let you go first and see what you got.
I'm going to say we might have the same one just because of how we've been talking so far. So I'm going to say mine, and because I think we might have the same one. I could be wrong. Kyle Hamilton for the Baltimore Ravens.
Kyle Hamilton. No, I don't have that.
I like
What's his number, though? What's his number?
One. Yeah, you can get both FanDuel, DraftKings. I think both have 8-1. I saw some other global books had a little bit higher. Anywhere I would say I wouldn't take anything lower than 7, but you can get 7, 750, 8-1 all over town. So make sure again you shop around, get that best number. Baltimore always wins games. They won a Super Bowl on their defense. They gave Trent Dilfer a ring because of their defense. And now you're telling me this guy is going to be on that defense. I think it's going to be much improved than last year because they gave up some points last year, even though that defense was gassed in the second half because they had no offense for Lamar out there. I like this play. I'm a little bit sold on the Baltimore Ravens defense more than I am on their offense this year, even though they're going to have their running backs all back this year. But I like this kid.
Well, there you go. Like I said, I can't paint the whole thing purple and black, but I'm going to be a homer here, Ralph. And I'm going to pick somebody out of left field here that makes sense to me. Kansas City really did not have a good defense last year, and they need somebody big to fix it. And I watched this guy play his whole college career, and I thought he has the same potential, but through a middle linebacker as like a TJ Watt coming in, and that's Leo Chenal from the Wisconsin Badgers. Later draft pick because he wasn't touted to go high, but this man destroyed teams and came through. He can get through the line. He plays a perfect middle, smart guy, strong, pretty fast for a linebacker. He's going to take over this Kansas City defense, in my opinion, and everyone's going to be coming in all week on their defense, and he's going to be the one to prove that they're not. Right now, he's listed in the depth chart as number 2, but I think he moves into number 1 quickly. And I got him at 44-1. It's down to 43-1, so maybe that line moved a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with 43-1. I'm happy with anything above 25-1 on Leo Chenal. I think being a starting linebacker is a big thing, in my opinion. And I think when you actually transition a defense, they're going to give him the credit more than a lot of other players. So I'm sticking with my Homer Badger play. Any comments?
Homer, but I agree. I mean, anytime middle linebackers and running backs, Wisconsin always produces them really well. So I like to play. And anything will help Kansas City's defense. And I think and I agree with you. I think he's going to be nice. He's on a depth chart too right now. Guarantee you by week 1 he'll be number 1.
All right, let's move on to offensive player of the year. And I think you have to click on a different area for this when you're on your site, MyBookie. Regular season general props, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and so you look at that. I did not make a play because it's just so close to MVP for me, almost, because they give the MVP to the offensive guy unless something crazy happens. So I'm gonna let you give us yours if you have one.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't do that. I would maybe take a shot at Justin Herbert, but I don't want to keep on blowing the Chargers on this one. This one's just so hard because it's like I said, if you're going to bet this one, why don't you just do the MVP? Because normally the MVP odds are a little bit better than this one, just because sometimes you get better long shot odds on the MVP than you get in this one, because this one doesn't get that much action like an MVP does. So you could offset the odds when it comes to normal NFL MVP when it comes to Player of the Year. But I would have to take a shot at the Justin Herbert if I had to.
Yeah, that's fair. I can't disagree with that. He's going to put up the most numbers, and he's actually favored for most passing yards. So why not take him for Offensive Player of the Year if he's not going to be the MVP? Let's move on to comeback Player of the Year in the regular season. You have Derrick Henry plus 300, kind of injured a little bit last year, right? But he always comes back. But still, Jameis Winston plus 500, injured himself, missed a little more than half the season. Christian McCaffrey plus 700, who really didn't do diddly squat last year. He was injured the year before, and he doesn't have a line anymore. He's getting old. Daniel Jones, quarterback for the Giants, because they had such a great draft. Everybody likes Daniel Jones at plus 750. I mean, what's he coming back from? He started all year. Coming back from terribleness, I guess. Baker Mayfield plus 800. He actually played the whole year, but he complained about his injured torn labrum, which is, if you have a torn labrum, don't play and screw your contract over, because people are going to think that maybe, just like I thought. I'm like, how much of this is true? How much of it isn't? Blah, blah, blah. You got Michael Thomas at plus 1,000. Marcus Mariota plus 1,400, who might lose his starting job, as I just went through. And Mitch Trubisky at plus 1,400. Then you got Chase Young, J.K. Dobbins, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to say it's probably Mitch Trubisky for me if I was going to take it, but I didn't. I can make an argument with most of these guys. I mean, there's a scenario in every single one. 1,400 is not nearly enough on anything on Mitch Trubisky to get me to bet him. But at the same time, he is listed now as a Steelers quarterback. And he's gotten so much hate from the media that why would he not get a media award like comeback player of the year type thing, where the media influences it? So I'm gonna lean Mitch. What are your thoughts?
I agree on that one, because I think he does win the starting position there, and I think that again, I hate to beat a dead horse, defense will win that game, a lot of those games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would say take the Saints. Woodson or Thomas. If the Saints do anything, or if they make it to the playoffs or stuff like that, I would feel bad, because I know Michael Thomas, you can get him anywhere 8-9 or even 10-1. If he has a blowout season, has a great season like he did a couple of years ago, they're going to give it to a quarterback. They're going to give it to famous Jameis. They're going to give it to Thomas, because who gave him those balls? He did. So it would be suck to have a ticket on Michael Thomas and thinking you're going to get it, and they're going to give it to the guy who threw him the ball most of the time. So I would say if there's a prop, maybe I'll put a prop in. Maybe I'll just put Saints offense as comeback Player of the Year. You can get everyone on the same.
There you go. I mean, I was looking for Justin Herbert, but I couldn't find it. I could have swore you were going to pick Herbert here, but
no, I didn't. I really like the Trubinsky play. I think just with the media hatred and stuff like that.
Well, you saw him play preseason at Buffalo. He looked great. I mean, maybe the Bears coaching sucks, which they kind of got fired. So maybe it was a lot more of that than anything else. Let's go for it. It's funny. I skipped over this Defensive Player of the Year. I have a play on this one. I'm going to see if you have anything first.
Oh, my defense is it's Watt, TJ Watt. I mean, I wanted to deal with Donald again, because I think he's I had this discussion on another show the other day that I think he's the best defensive player ever in the game when he hangs it up, and everyone says, "Oh, what about Lawrence Taylor? What about Singletary and Dick Buckets?" I'm sorry, Donald just changes the game when he's in there. But this year, I like TJ Watt. I'm really, as you can tell, I'm really high on Pittsburgh, just because I think everyone's going to think, oh, there's no Big Ben, they stink.
It's funny how you guys listed Trent Jordan Watt instead of TJ Watt. I don't even know if I remembered that from his Wisconsin day. We always call him TJ. But first you have Aaron Donald at plus 650, Myles Garrett at plus 650, TJ Watt at plus 700, Micah Parsons at plus 900, Nick Bosa plus 1,200, Joey Bosa plus 2,500. Those guys are so injury prone. I'm not touching them with a 10-foot pole. Khalil Mack is only going to play on third downs probably, or any passing downs. I'm going to go a little bit different here, and I'm going to go with Josh Allen. Not the quarterback, Josh Allen, but the defensive end, Josh Allen for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And here is my theory. I think that the Colts a little bit iffy on their left tackle, so we'll just leave that there. Picking on the Texans twice is going to be nice for Josh Allen. You remember when they beat the Bills last year? It was all Josh Allen beating Josh Allen at quarterback. It was him in his face. And now the fact that they have a new coach in Doug Peterson, I think that maybe this fires this team up and maybe they do get 6 or 7 wins or something good like that. Josh Allen, he's a beast, and he is a lot faster than people think. At 66-1, being the sack man, if he can lead the league in sacks, he's probably going to get this award, especially if the Jaguars actually do something this year. So I just kind of took a flyer. It was a small play, Ralph, maybe a quarter unit, half unit, something like that. But I'm sticking with it.
I like it. I think it's a much improved team this year. I think they're not going to be the doormat we've seen before, and I like to play. I'm not high on them, but they're going to win some games that people are going to scratch their head like, "Oh my God, Jacksonville won today."
Exactly. Well, let's move on to the final one. I'm going to talk about Coach of the Year, and I might as well go first here because I'm sticking with this. If you're gonna, there's some people betting the Jaguars 7-1 to win the division. They're saying the Colts could, maybe Matt Ryan like for the Falcons and it screws up, and maybe the Titans were, kind of fake news coming into the playoffs as the number 1 seed. And then you have the Jaguars with a brand new coach here. Why bet them at 7-1 when you can bet Doug Peterson at 18-1? Because I'll tell you right now, it would take an undefeated season from somebody else to not give this award for a man that could make the playoffs in Doug Peterson. If they make the playoffs at their 7-1, I think Peterson is a shoo-in for Coach of the Year at plus 1,800. What are your thoughts?
I have a ticket on that on one of the sites at 20-1 for Peterson. There was on ones that I'm still kind of tempting to pull the trigger on 30-1 to Mike Tomlin, just because it's Mike Tomlin. I mean, if they go anywhere, why wouldn't they give it to him a brand new? But I totally agree with that and Doug Peterson. If they're even sniffing the playoffs, he's going to get mentioned and stuff like that. So
if they get the wild card too, they don't have to win the division.
And now all these books keep Coach of the Year open. They take coaches off, they leave them open and all that. You might be able to hedge that ticket if you grab this number now, anywhere 17, 18, or 20-1. I say grab it. I think it's a fantastic wager on it.
Awesome. Thank you. I actually have a couple more wagers that I made that I'm reserving for odds breakers members. Any other exotic plays or any NFL plays you want to talk about?
No, like I said, I'm in low key so far in futures, just because it's still July 27th. I mean, I'm still not, even when I'm watching the Hall of Fame game, I'm probably still not going to be full blown NFL mode yet. So usually takes me preseason week 2 to like, I guess this NFL train's coming really fast. I guess I better get motivated for that. But yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see some. I'm excited to see that the powerful division everyone keeps on mentioning. I mean, Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen, and not because I'm a fan of any of the 4 and all that. I just think we just haven't seen anything like this in any sport where all 4 teams. I mean, sometimes the Yankees will win with Yankees, Red Sox, and maybe sometimes the Blue Jays will creep up. And the NL Central, Cubs, the Cardinals, and Brewers, sometimes they would battle it, but never before the season started where you had everyone in this division could probably win it, and not one people would say, that was a surprise. So I'm just excited to see the outcome of all 4 of those teams in the division.
Yes, I very much am too, man. It's going to be an exciting year. You're going to hear more and more about football as the time moves on. We have the preseason ahead of us too, where I have an article on all coach preseason records adjusted for some of the new coaches we thought were dead that came right back in the NFL. Lovie Smith,
Hey, don't be fun of Lovie Smith. That beard's rocking.
Dennis Allen back, obviously, coach. And you have Josh McDaniels. There's like 5 of them that had some coaching records. So check us out at the Odds Breakers to see those coaching records, because we know a lot of it is based on motivation. Where can our listeners and viewers find your great information and plays, Raph?
You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can find me on Twitter at BSI.sports. You can find me over at DocSports.com. You can find all my crazy stuff, odds over at mybookie.ag.
Awesome, Raph. Thanks for coming on, man. Had a blast.
Take it easy. Have a fantastic weekend.